Alrighty, Thursday, March 21st. Much slower session today, well within what we were expecting, though. This morning I had talked about the higher probability, possibility that price would show that volatility compression day. So anytime you have that volatility expansion, which is going to come with a daily breakout play like we saw with FOMC yesterday, the expectation should be for volatility compression. Now that can manifest in a couple of different ways. Usually it's going to be an inside day, meaning price trades within the entirety of the prior day session. That's not what we saw today. However, we did still see that volatility compression day. If you take a look at today's actual intraday range, look at the action here, right? Just looks like a barcode. Just absolute barcode. So 5 minute just shows us a lot of overlapping 5 minute bars. Again, well within the expectation. And then if you look at the range of today, it's 20 points from session high to session low. The normal average true range of ES, the normal trading range, is 54 points. Okay, so including pre-market, it did a 30-point move. Talking about a little bit more than half of an ATR, that is with the pre-market action included. Just looking at the regular trading hours, we have half of an ATR move. So again, these types of days, you really do not want to be doing too much. You want to be taking it much slower. I bring this up because choppier days can really burn accounts. They can cause frustration. You can get wicked out of a lot of plays. It can really be a recipe for unnecessary losses, especially since we know what type of session to expect on a day like today. So we come into the session expecting a slow session. If you're not trading according to those expectations, then that can be an issue, right? That can definitely be an issue. So just something to keep in mind there. As far as what we're going to be looking at for tomorrow, well, anytime we have these tighter sessions, I like to approach it essentially watching how price responds versus today's range, right? So we have a much tighter range. Main focus is going to be how price responds to this 5,300 level. It's going to be the primary level of interest for tomorrow's session. Some retracement of the FOMC move would not be all that surprising. Even a retest of the prior breakout point would not be out of the question. That would be well within the realm of normal. This continues to be a bull's tape, right? We are pressing 52-week highs, and so I'll continue to focus on long setups exclusively, but doesn't mean that price cannot or will not pull back. So some things to keep in mind there. 5,300 main level of interest on ES for tomorrow. NQ setup remains a bit different. Have a look at this. If I flip back to the hourly chart, what we're going to see here is that NQ, there was an attempt to force that daily breakout today and failure, right? Look at the last attempt. So the last attempt resulted in a much swifter move back into the range. Today, just trading up near the 52-week highs following that. Technically, this was a fresh 52-week high, but no acceptance above the prior high, so I consider that a rejection of 700. Now, again, as far as what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow in NQ, we want to see, we almost have that entire gap filled from this morning. And so that is notable, but really what we want to see here is how price continues to respond versus that near term or that intermediate term range high, right? So like I mentioned this morning, this is all resistance until it's not. So until price actually breaks out and then you have acceptance up here, this is all a key resistance zone. So you want to be very, very cautious if you're trying longs up here. It's a very risky spot to be attempting longs, right? Into a higher time frame resistance. Probability does favor a move lower. Now, currently, near the close is kind of no man's land for me, given that price is not near one of my levels of interest. And so I'll be looking primarily either at the reaction versus 18,620 or the reaction versus 18,500, depending on any overnight action, right? Any pre-market action. See how active the markets are overnight. Yeah, that is about it for the index. Much slower day. Again, well within what we were expecting. As far as individual names, we have one on watch. I'm looking at MU for a second day play here. Looking for the continuation play today with the gap and go setup. The gap and go did not materialize. We did have a couple of decent bounces versus the posted trigger. No real decent follow through off of this attempt later in the morning, almost into PT1 there. So a couple of decent trades in MU with the posted framework. We'll see how this looks for a potential second day play tomorrow morning. Hope everyone had a great session. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Have a great evening.